Hi guys, this is Breaker and I'm back with a replay that I took from a fellow member of EXE, that would be EXE Gaming. And without further ado, I guess we're going to go ahead and get started on casting it. But first and foremost, I want to say that this one has my curiosity really piqued as to what we could be seeing from our two players. Now, this is going to be a ZVP. As you all can see. And it looks like both players, I think, are unranked. I'm not sure if that's... I probably read it wrong, but at any rate, let's go ahead and give both players their introduction. In the upper left-hand corner, spawning as our red Protoss, his name is Cujek. And in the lower right-hand corner, spawning as our red Zerg, his name is KapitanKakao. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kakao is a Korean term used to... that was used to name an app known as Kakao. No, you can use it anywhere, but I believe it was mostly designed and engineered for people living and working and or whatevering in Korea, just for fun. It's just some little app that I like to use, but personally I think WeChat, aka Weixin in Chinese, is a little more popular. And this is a particularly early pool that we have coming from KapitanKakao. I'll just call him Kakao from now on and we'll be good to go. It likes to make this little obnoxious noise whenever you get a message, and it typically sounds something like Kakao or something. Say it a little bit faster, but yeah. Okay, and the map that we are on today, of course, is Akalon Wastes. The natural is kind of wide open again. And for Zerg, this is kind of a good thing, because if they want to, they can go for a double hatch opener, but that's not going to be the way things boil down this game around. Now, instead, what we're going to see is a bunch of early lings coming out. And Cujek has already gone for a Gateway Expo opener, I believe. He has not thrown down a second gas yet, so this tells me that it's not going to be a sentry expand. We might see a Mothership Core, but Cujek is a little bit late on putting his probes on gas. Now, if you guys didn't know already, 6 lings are more than aptly capable of taking on a single zealot, provided that they get us around. If they don't get us around, and maybe it's just 2 of them pecking away at a single zealot for a while, it might be a completely different story. But of course, we're talking about if that zealot gets stuck in a mineral line here, and that's not even accounting for probe micro, so yeah. It's just 6 lings. We have a gas follow-up from Kakao as well. And the Cybernetics Core going down for Cujek. Question is he ready? He's like, oh, wait a minute. I just got here. Derp, no natural. Well, may as well try and go poke away at his probes. Let's just click, 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 click. And here we are in the probe line. It looks like Cujek didn't have an optimal number of probes on his gas anyway. Jeez, the Zealot's having trouble actually reaching these probes, and it looks like altogether a good chunk of them are going to fall apart. Wow. This is... damn, 6 worker kills. Don't you know by right-clicking on a mineral patch, you pull all your probes to that, and you can actually get them away and even get us around that way? Meanwhile, we actually see that, behind this, that was basically 2 Zealots that didn't go to work the way they should have. And, nonetheless, I see a lead from our Protoss player nonetheless. It's because our Zerg is kind of derping in the way of mechanics. Again, I believe both of these players are unranked. And now we have Cujek, I think, opting for his Expo. Yes, we already see the blue highlight for the Nexus, the light blue Invisa highlight, if you will. And now 8 more lings on the way. Mothership Core is out now, so those Zerglings can basically be killed uncontested now, unless he pulls a queen all the way across the map. That would be entirely overpowered. Creep tumors, interestingly enough, getting spread. That says to me that our Zerg, he's probably opting to do that. He's floating 645 minerals, but wait, what's he floating all these resources for? I am completely dumbfounded at this point. He does have metabolic boost getting started really late. He had more than enough money for it for a while. Perhaps he was AFK or something. Maybe he had to take a phone call. Who knows? At any rate, he's taking his extremely late expo. And his opponent's going to have at least an 80-second lead on his, almost an 80-second lead. 75 more or less. Look at this. 75 seconds, give or take. This Overlord, if it pops, that's actually going to be a huge lead for Cujek, and it looks like he's not going to pass up that opportunity. No, he's going to bring that Stalker all the way down here to deal with it. Meanwhile, Double Forge in the main of our Protoss, and I'm trying to figure out just, you know, I mean, this obviously means he's going to try and get attack and armor upgrades. But interestingly enough, even after seeing that his Overlord was going to be killed, he didn't get a couple of Overlords to replace it, and now he's just making up for that mistake. Even this number of Overlords is not enough. Okay, so now we have one gateway, and that's about it. We've got two more getting added on over here. Not in the optimal SimCity form, if you will, but now we have so many Zerglings here with speed on them. I don't know, like, this is going to be a little tough. As long as we can see a force field go down on the ramp before any of those Lings get up there, he should be okay. But right now, the Lings are getting really good surrounds on all of this. Photon Overcharge goes down on the Nexus, and it looks like Kakao has no interest in getting into the main. Cujek's micro slipping just a little bit, and just as I say that, Kakao actually switches his mind up and decides to go into the main. Now the Lings are going to be mopped up by this single Zealot with double punches. We do have a good deal of Chrono Boost floating right now, and this one Ling is pecking away, now getting 3 probe kills. That's just not pretty. That's just unorthodox, bro. Okay, so 13 workers killed altogether to this point. Kakao still behind in terms of economy. He needs, I want to say, 6 more drones to catch up, but instead he's just cranking out straight up Lings. Twilight Council going down behind this. Perhaps we could see some DTs later on in this game. But my main concern is perhaps we will see... What's the word I'm looking for? Perhaps first we will see some either charge lots or blink stalkers. It all depends. And right now we need Kujek's reflexes to come into play. He misplaced the force field. That's going to allow so many Lings to get to the main. And again, stack up those worker kills. This is more than the appropriate time to actually start pulling the probes and getting them into the natural and saving them. At this stage, I think the probes would be more than aptly capable of fighting, holding their ground against the Lings, but oh man. Cujek just, again, not really quite focusing on the micro too much. Even to this point in the game, it seems that KapitanKakao, even though he's running in with Lings, he's getting kills, he's delaying mining time. His economy is still not definitively ahead. Sure, he's got workers, yes, he's got them catching up, yes, he's delaying mining time, but delaying mining time is just a delay. That means it eventually resumes. If you kill workers, that is a completely different school of damage that we are talking about from, say, perhaps delaying economy. Zealot Legs is the tech of choice that we have coming down from Cujek right now. And he's also adding on 3 more gateways, bringing it to a grand total of 6. +2/+2 just now getting started for Cujek. And I just also want to highlight that this is a really dangerous position for KapitanKakao because he's so far behind in the way of upgrades. He doesn't have enough static defenses at home if he really wants to definitively be able to hold his ground against a Zealot army moving out, but he does have Banelings morphing in the mix. So one thing we're going to have to see that would be extremely good from our Protoss here is to throw down just some meticulously well-placed force fields. There they are, but oh my god, he just moved straight into that. What just happened? He didn't even throw down a force field. And now we actually see that our Protoss is at greater losses than our Zerg, but it's okay because, again, once again, his economy is in the lead. And as long as he cranks out that Chrono Boost on all of these gates and then, you know, goes on the straight-up offensive, he's going to win this. Army supply right now is so greatly in favor of Cujek right now. It is. But at the same time, we're going to see reactions from KapitanKakao like, oh, let me throw down a spine crawler wall over here and make sure he doesn't get past it. That kind of thing. That is what we need to see. More links coming out again for KapitanKakao. He doesn't seem to realize that the Protoss army he's going up against is much larger than that of his own. And it looks as though we're going to have a sneaky probe trying to get out here. Not the most ideal pylon placement, at least not where all the pros put it, but it's okay. We're, you know, I'm not a pro either. And look at this, the probe actually spotted all of these banelings. So now we should actually see Cujek's main concern being getting all of those Archons to connect with the banelings here as they try to come up the ramp. Because of course it takes like 30-something banelings to kill a single Archon. And there we go. And it gets all but one of those Zealots. And now more links coming in, but again, army supplies still in favor of Cujek. Ideally, Zerg should be on 3 bases while Protoss is on 2. But it looks like now we essentially have our Protoss gearing up to move out and kill Kakao and throw him out of this game. Links cut onto that pylon, amazingly enough. Now we have, it looks like, a total of 8 gateways altogether, and we're just waiting for basically players to make up their minds. When are they going to move out? When are they going to kill? When are they going to do this? When are they going to do that? So on and so forth. Decision making, guys. It's, you know, it's a part of the game too. Meanwhile, the natural's kind of undersaturated. The main is sort of undersaturated. And we have a Spire on the way now from KapitanKakao. I do want to highlight, however, that there is a lot in the way of just lack of anti-air. Like, not being good at anti-air. Now we actually have these Zealots getting thrown away one by one at all of these banelings. And that's not good for the micro, guys. And now I think Cujek should realize that he's actually in a very strong position, and it's more than an appropriate time to actually move out. Banelings are going to be lined up with these spine crawlers, these 3 spine crawlers. If they are there to support, then I think they would do a good job, especially versus all these Zealots. But the Archons are a completely different story. I believe 1-for-1 an Archon can take on a spine crawler. Now we have the Spire back here, and the Zealots are moving over here to take down this 3rd. This is essentially a +2/+2 timing attack that we see from our Protoss, and he's gonna move back over here. If the Banelings connect with the Archons, that's not gonna be good. But wait, hold on, what is this? They're actually doing a good job of connecting with all the Zealots. Looks like behind all this, we're seeing just nothing but massive weapons of Zealots coming after all of this. But Cujek also has to realize how much economy he is floating right now. His income is better than his Zerg opponents, yes. But at the same time, he's got to find a way to expend all of these resources that he is floating right now. Simultaneously, Kakao himself has to do the same thing. There's a map called Macro or Die, where basically if you don't use enough of your resources, you will receive a nuke at your main and or your natural. Cujek now just spamming pylons around his 3rd, wants to keep it safe. Who could blame him? He sees that there's a very fierce Baneling Ling force out on the map somewhere. And +1 attacks now on the way for our Zerg, +1 air attacks, but he's not really upgrading anything besides that, I want to say. Okay. So this is it. Both players at a standstill, as we can see. But if it's any question who has a lead right now, it's definitely Cujek. At least in terms of army count. And that is starting to slowly increase just a little bit for our Zerg. He's going to try and move out soon, it looks like. Yes, at the very least with the Mutas. But again, with the Archons, the High Templar at home, so on and so forth. Does he even have Storm? He doesn't have Storm. Alright, so here come the mutas. They're actually going to fly straight into the natural, and nothing but a bunch of zealots back here. I wonder what this is going to provoke from Cujek, and it looks like he's just going to straight up A-move into this. This is not going to be pretty. The zealots not quite getting the best trade there. Archons will be left over to deal with this army, and it looks like the mutalisks are back here just dealing out all the damage they can at the natural, but the main is still, it's still got some workers on it. If nothing else, both players can use their banks if they really, really have to. There's a lot of Lings just sitting here doing nothing, and a lot of Lings, well, not here, but I would have imagined they would have been there. Okay, so now we got 3 Archons left and a bunch of mutas in production. That means if we manage to somehow see Cujek keep his base alive, I don't know, he's got to get some anti-air into the mix. That's the biggest problem we see here. And Cujak's just sitting here on creep, a little bit unaware of what the situation is presently for him. He's also got a third base that our Zerg doesn't know about just yet, and the mutas have been dealt with adequately. But wait, who's going to prevail over this one? That's the real question. Hold up. It's 2 Archons versus 2 mutas, and that is it in the way of anti-air. So close. And now the Zealots are going to town on the drone line, and I just can't see Cujek losing this, really. I mean, we have his opponent making spines in the main. It's a little bit close. But now the Archons are actually clicking down the main, and it's looking like, that was so close, but the Archon was dealt with. But again, it's just one muta. It's just one mutalisk. That's all it is. And it looks like we should have Cujek running into the main of his opponent, trying to kill him quickly. Interestingly enough, we have him trying to destroy the Mothership Core first, making sure his forces can't recall, but that's, I think, a bad idea. But this almost dry mineral lane is now being absolutely decimated, and it looks like Cujak's going to take this game definitively. 1-for-1, the Stalkers are even with the mutas, more or less, but the upgrades far more in favor of the Stalkers. They're just GG from KapitanKakao. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys next time. Okay?